So there is many different types of pests and things that do happen to come when you're gardening. And so I want to talk about 3 particular ones. What's going on today, Maureen? We're in the greenhouse studio. Yay! Some things are growing great and some things are still struggling here in the studio. As most gardeners and homesteaders, one of the things that we do have to struggle with is pests. It is what it is. And basically, I actually really don't like them at all. Well, you know what? I don't think anybody really likes them, but I personally really don't like them. So there is many different types of pests and things that do happen to come when you're gardening. And so I want to talk about 3 particular ones. And the first one, of course, is the gnats. And if you've seen any of my videos in the past, you will have seen when I react to different kinds of pests, especially after I've seen some of the damage that they do. The soil gnats. Rodents. There is a mouse in my house. I hate rats. But they are very cute. With gnats and or aphids, I don't find that I'm dealing too badly with them in the garden. I put things out like nasturtiums, and a nasturtium plant will just attract all the aphids, which is just great for me. But within my greenhouse studio, it can get very discouraging when those gnats just take over and of course just decimate my pepper plants. And it's hard to go, come on little pepper plants, you can do it. I'm also going to talk about what I do for flies outside. Yeah, I have a lot of chicken manure, which is great fertilizer, but of course, lots of flies like to come around. So I have a little method that I use for that to bring down that fly population. And the one that just kind of gets to me is the rats. You know, people say, well, of course you have rats because you have chickens. And it's like, no, I had rats beforehand. I live near a bog and a lot of wooded areas. So it's very prolific for wildlife here, but I do need to stop the rats because the rats, again, will eat all my vegetables, and I would rather feed my family and friends rather than the rats. For me, here in my greenhouse studio, it's the gnats. They are just prolific. It's inevitable because I do bring in composted soil in. Now, one of the things I am doing this year is I do have this propagation mix, and this is just a real plain seed starting soil, so there's not a lot of nutrition or anything like that in there. So having this, it's going to keep moisture in a little bit better so that I'm not overwatering. Yes, I'm an overwaterer, or I'm a droughter. Go between the two. I get them to a place of drought where they're dying and they're so thirsty, and then I come and I overwater and I drown everything. So using this soil with my seeds now, I think it is making a difference. But then once I am ready to pot up, I am adding in that composted soil along with the volcanic pumice and some organic fertilizer. So I have tried lots of different methods to combat the gnats here in the studio. And to be really honest, one of the things for me is that I get really discouraged by knowing that different plants, like especially my peppers, they really just get decimated, and they're always really covered with the, I don't know if it's the gnat carcasses or gnat, whatever it is, they just get covered with it. It makes it really hard to go, don't plant any peppers because, you know, the gnats are just going to kill them. That part is hard. So I've used a lot of different methods that have been recommended to me, like the yellow sticky tape. I have them up here. This is some sort of scented fly ribbon. You know, you pull it all out and it's a big long one and you can hang it. And it does catch them. It absolutely does get some of the gnats and the flies. But what I'm finding is that because of the life cycle of the gnat, you know, it basically lives for the day, you know, lays its eggs, you know, flies around doing its damage, and then dies, and then the next generation comes up, and then it just gets exponentially bigger, and it drives me crazy. I also use the volcanic pumice as well in here just to prevent them from going down. And one of the things when you are using the pumice, you do have to make sure you move it out of the way before you water so that it's not just all sinking down and, you know, combining in with the soil. That only works so as well. So what I'm using now, which has brought down the gnat population to almost a complete standstill, is this product called Konk 409D. Unfortunately, I think in the United States, I did go looking for it on Amazon and I can't seem to find it, but you can get it up here in Canada. And whether or not you guys can order it from Canada, I will leave a link in the description because this is a game changer. I've been using Konk in my house for years. I have no idea why I didn't think, like, let's bring the Konk out 3 years ago and combat all the gnats that are in here. It does have like words I can't pronounce, but it is a chrysanthemum based product and you can have it around animals, and as well you can have it within your house and in your kitchen. And there are different facilities that are dealing with food and they would use this. You just can't use it around raw meat. I have no idea. I just obey the rules. Fine. If I see an infestation of ants coming, you know, along my stair rail, I bring out the Konk, I let it spray for a few days. All of the ants are dead. We were setting up and airing out one of our tents and there were a whole bunch of earwigs in there. Oh, yuck, earwigs. So we just took it, sprayed inside the tent. All the earwigs were gone. No worries. What I really love about it is that you can also, what I really love about it is that you can get this dispenser. And so the can is inside here and it has its little on and off switch. With this dispenser, it sprays every 7 minutes. I just put it up here high up on my shelf and let it just get all its work done. And I'll let it go for about 3 days and then I just shut it off. I just find that it's like 3 days is kind of enough. It sprays the room, the fans are blowing it around, kills all of those little gnats and anything else that, you know, might not be welcome. Of course, it is going to kill beneficial bugs as well. So again, why let it just spray for a couple of days, then turn it off. For the flies, I got these quite a few years ago. I think they're called Fix-It Fly Trap. I will again put a link in the description. I'm not sure if they are sold through Amazon, but any of the products that are sold through Amazon, I will put an affiliate link, so I get a little bit of a percentage from each sale. But this Fix-It Fly Trap is the cat's meow. I will take you out to show you the one that's in my yard because it is getting full. So it basically looks like this. You get this little plastic bowl. You can put, you know, some sort of rotting food or whatever. If you have chickens, put a little chicken poop in there and some water. One thing to note, put it all together. You can put the poop in, but don't put the water in because as you're trying to put it in, it could splash and you don't want that poopy water on you. So we simply slide it in between. Make sure our little hook here is attached to the little hanger. Not sure if you can see that. Bring it up closer. And we just want to make sure that that's hooked onto there. So we get this kind of pyramid inside there. So what happens is that, you know, this beautiful aroma happens. The flies are going to come in through here. They can only fly up. They can't fly down. So they come up and then they get caught in here. And then you got a whole bunch of little nummy things for your chicks. Let's go look at the one outside. This one is maybe about a week. And you can see it's raining today, so we don't have as many flies. But all of this is fly stuff in there. And, you know, if the water comes out of it, I just add some more water. Every so often I throw another little chicken poop in there. And you also want to make sure that you have it nice and low to the ground. So it's at this level here, but it's catching all of those flies. There's no smell of dead flies, and so it's just fantastic. I used to get those bags where it would catch all the flies, but those would get really, really smelly. It was just awful. And then when it's time to dispose of them, the first time, the lid on the bag, you're supposed to screw it down, and I didn't. I just put it into a shopping bag and took it out to my garbage and dripped all of the fly stuff all along. Just absolutely stunk. Had to wash everywhere that I made that little trail. I do like this Fix-It Fly Trap. There's no poisons that are coming out. And then my girls get a whole wonderful free snack. So the last one I'm going to talk about is for the rodents. And so I use plastic snap traps. I know some people put poison out, but the problem with poison is that as the rat is eating it and it goes away and dies somewhere, it could be eaten by my chickens, or it could be eaten by some of the birds of prey. And I know that in some areas in my city here, the owls are you know, getting sick and dying. And so it's one of those things where you go, we need the owls to be eating, you know, the little rodents so that it's helping with the pest control. I just use these snap traps. So these are just a snap trap, but I use an attractant or I use peanut butter in there. The problem with peanut butter is that there could be, you know, a bird that would come along. So I set it up in the little cuppet. That's where the attractant is. When the rat comes, it snaps it shut. Then I can just remove the rat. I've also used live traps, and the problem with the live trap is that once the rat is caught, you are going to have to exterminate it and deal with it that way. Where I like the fact that the snap trap, it does such an instantaneous job, and it prevents the rat population from getting bigger. And if you didn't know, when I was first researching about rats, we're just gonna pot up some green dragon cucumbers. As I was doing research regarding rats on, you know, just how to deal with them and whatnot, I came across that with one rat, through the course of a year, you can follow the lineage of one rat to equal 15,000 rats within a year. That is a lot of rats. And so when I first started doing the snap traps, I did kind of have this plague of rats somewhere up in the attic of this building. They weren't coming in to this space, thank God. They were up and behind, but they were just decimating all the food that I was trying to grow. And so in that first month of August, when I first started the snap traps, I caught 20 rats. And so then when I did the math, basically that was 300,000 rats that I had stopped from living, you know, here, which I figured was pretty darn good. You know, I kind of thought that the city would give me the keys to the city, you know, and maybe do a parade or something, but no, they did nothing, you know, not even a thank you, Maureen, for, you know, being the Pied Piper of our town. Let me ask you, what do you use, or other ideas or other products to use to help control? You're always going to need something to prevent pests from, you know, eating all your vegetables and destroying your yard. So if you have some other fabulous ideas, I would love to see you put them in the comments, because as other people are watching this video, they will be informed of other ideas or other products. So please do share your ideas and your successes that you have had with helping to keep things at bay, you know, so that you can continue to feed your family and your friends. Anyway, I do have a lot of plans to pot up in here. So I am hoping that you are having a great day wherever you are. And I do look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care and God bless.